Hi, Megan.
Hi.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. So we are, all right, I see Jessica Zimmerman too. Have both Jessicas, Jenna Zimmerman and Jessica McCracken. Excellent. Let me just write you guys down so I don't forget who zoomed in.
That's
Hey,
why
Samuel.
I put my last name.
Huh?
That's why I put my last name, because I know there's another Jessica.
Thank you very much. All right. Let's see. Samuel, I'm glad to see you. I was hoping someone from your group would zoom in. Okay, there's Jordan. Hold on, the dog is wanting to get in. She's very noisy. Okay, let's see. Jordan, I see you. Okay, I think I have everyone so far. No. Hey, Lauren, how are you? Okay. All right, so Simon, I'm going to ask you a quick question. Has your group had a chance to post the assignment yet, this cultural strategies presentation?
No, I think one last person was uploading their Spark video on there.
Okay.
I'm not too sure.
Perfect. All right, yeah, because I didn't see it yet, but I think that was one of the things I wanted to talk to you guys about. Because you're doing the cultural strategies presentations and they're getting uploaded as an assignment, what I will do to make sure everyone gets to see the work you guys put together in your small groups is when we do the bi-weekly videos, I'll show the completed cultural strategies presentations in the video. So you'll be able to see each other's work during those video sessions. Then I'll also have some content that I cover. So you'll get like 3 teachers in the next few videos because you'll have me and then your peers doing the 2 sessions that we do every couple weeks. Does that sound good to everyone?
Yeah.
I can see all your wonderful work. Okay. So let's start off by seeing if there are any questions. How are things going with everyone?
So far, so
Pretty good.
Pretty good? Okay. Excellent. How has the discussion boards been going? I've been really impressed with what I'm seeing. How are you guys liking those? Good?
I think they're good.
Good. Excellent. And I have like 2 more Flipgrid origins to look at, and then I'll put in your scores. But those have been really great. Thank you guys for doing such a wonderful job on your origin Flipgrids. I've really liked getting to know more about you. Even those I've had in past classes like Lauren, I learned something new about you. So that was good. But yeah, so I'm excited about that. I kind of want to talk about the upcoming assignments. We don't have Cindy, Alex, Adlin, or Avery in, do we? Not in this video session? Okay, well, they're going to be in the next small group doing the CLD/ELL presentation. So they will get their articles posted. I'll send them an email after this Zoom as a reminder to do their article posts on the discussion board. They probably won't have them done until tomorrow because I just revised the articles for them. So they'll need probably tonight to get those done and then post them. And then that way you guys will have the rest of the week to do your discussion board responses to them. And then from those discussion board responses, they'll pull in the themes for the first part of their presentation. And I kind of wanted to show you what that looked like. I know, Sam, you guys have done yours, but if we go back just a little bit to the culturally responsive teaching presentation or discussion board, I was going to post an article there for you, and you guys all looked at it and responded to the article about Geneva Gay. In that article, she defined culturally responsive teaching as using the cultural characteristics, experiences, and perspectives of ethnically diverse students as conduits for teaching them more effectively. That quote was actually quoted by several of you in your discussion boards. I thought that was really good. And then she talked about 5 essential elements of culturally responsive teaching. And I don't know if you guys picked up on this, but the discussion questions or critical response questions I gave you kind of tried to highlight those 5 elements. So depending on the question you picked, you kind of talked about one of those elements. So for example, one of the questions kind of was, can we really get to know all about our CLD students or all of our students' backgrounds? And that's kind of that first theme that Gay talked about being, we need to develop a knowledge base about cultural diversity. So in the discussion board, I really liked how a lot of you were critically thinking about that and saying, yeah, we do need to take the time to get to know our students. We may not know everything about them, but making the effort is key, because that helps create bonds with our students. And teachers are going to be more mindful of students' backgrounds if they're paying attention to that, and the students will feel more valued. So you guys did a great job of really thinking about, okay, yeah, as future teachers, we can't know every single aspect of our students' lives, but we can definitely take the time and effort to get to know things about them and let them know that we care beyond just like a letter grade or a score in the class. So I thought that was really great of you guys. Any thoughts on that? Any other good insights you've gained about how you might get to know your future students?
For me, it was just a good reminder, you know, because I think it's so easy to get into a loop of a routine and to not delve deeper into your students or even people, you know, if they're having an off day and not just thinking, okay, that's just that student and maybe there's something else going on, or, you know, maybe there's a change at home. And so I think reminding ourselves to dig deeper and to put in that extra effort for me was kind of enlightening.
Yeah, good. I really like that. I think that's so true. Sometimes we can pick up on our students' behavior and say, oh my gosh, they're just being that typical student, or they're being so frustrated today, but there actually might be something really going on that we need to tap into and try and figure out to support them. Yeah, that's excellent. Any other thoughts about that?
I think to go along with what Jessica said, it reminded me of having like a bias toward maybe certain students, not knowing like what their background is, and then kind of assuming that they're just that kind of student.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's why I think I mentioned this a couple of times already, but it's really important for you to form your own opinion about your students when you get them in the classroom. Don't let other people, like a past teacher, say, okay, I'll give you the lowdown on each of your students. Actually get to know them for yourself first. And then, yeah, you can always go back and talk to a teacher, but don't let someone's opinion influence you, because they can be completely different in your classroom, but things can be completely changed. They respond differently to you. So really don't go in with preconceived notions. I even tell a lot of teachers not to look at the cum file the first week. Just get to know your kids, because the cum file will have like all their past school records and maybe notes from past teachers. But again, that can skew your perspective of the student. So, you know, just being really mindful. I like the way Jessica said, you know, just being aware of that and remember that as future teachers.
Especially with siblings. I noticed that sometimes one sibling might act some way and then you immediately form biases on the whole family tree.
Yeah.
Whether they're positive or negative.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that is very true. I know that I ended up in high school actually in the same geometry class as my brother. By some fluke, he was a year ahead of me. And we ended up in the same class. And he was like just naturally got math. Like it was so easy for him. Like he would ace every test, but he never did the homework. And I would struggle to get C's on the tests, but I always did the homework. So I ended up getting a better grade than him. So it's like, even though naturally it came to him, it's like you can't judge a person by how well they can take a test or how well they can do something. It's that effort, I think, is important. So yeah, very good. One of the other things I really like that you guys talked about in response to one of the questions, Gay talked about including ethnic and cultural diversity into the curriculum. And I like that a lot of you are being really mindful about the fact that we can help our students achieve more academically when we make those cultural connections in the curriculum, and really trying to incorporate students' background and experiences throughout the curriculum, not just like on certain days or certain holidays or certain, you know, like Black History Month or, you know, Hispanic Heritage Month. We want to actually make it something that's embedded throughout and part of like a systemic change, not just a kind of token thing. What do you guys think about that?
No, I completely agree, especially because I think sometimes when you pay attention to those, like say Black History Month, you might draw attention to those students, like, what do you think about this? And I think sometimes singling them out is doing more harm than good.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Has anyone experienced that, seen something like that in schools, or been a part of that themselves?
I don't know that I've noticed it, to be honest.
Okay, well, that's good. Maybe there's some positive changes being made where that's not the way it's carried out in schools now. I know that especially schools where you have large diversity, you want to make sure you're kind of making it embedded part of the curriculum, so you're trying to touch on all different areas. And one of the things I think Gay talked about as well is that you can incorporate cultural diversity into every content area. It's just a matter of how far you're willing to go as a future teacher to try and do that. So it's not something that has to just be sporadic. Okay, we'll pull out the multicultural book once a month and then we've done it. We want to make sure we're doing that throughout. Another thing I really liked from what you guys said was that learning communities, you really emphasized teaching the whole class about different cultures can make them more socially aware, and incorporating the cultures and backgrounds of our students can also help your class become more globally competent. Given our changing society, all the politics, social media, I think this is really important to educate our students about, so they are more globally competent, more aware of issues, because we're relating to different cultures, and getting to know those. Even if we're in schools where it's not very diverse, I think that's probably even more important to educate students about diversity, because they haven't had that exposure or opportunity to experience it. I know from several of your guys' origin Flipgrid, some of you said you came from smaller towns or didn't really have a lot of diversity in your school. So given that as future teachers, say you end up back in your small town, what can you do to maybe help your students become more globally competent? Any tips you're taking away, things you might try?
Something that I really consider is the use of a variety of different texts and books to introduce different cultures and maybe even different people like into the classroom, into the community actually too.
Yeah, and I think that's so important, especially when kids if they don't have that exposure to different cultures or communities, to really give them that opportunity. Even hearing different names that they may not hear, learning about different places they may normally not visit. I think that is a great way to kind of bridge that gap. Has anyone else done anything like that, or have you seen teachers implement stuff to try and make students more globally aware? Have they done pen pals even in other countries or other states, and like that you've seen?
Yeah, I saw one teacher that had, I don't even know what book it was. It was some folk tale, and she had it in 5 different versions with all different kinds of people in each one. Or one wasn't even people, it was animals, but the same type of story. And so just having that kind of diversity to show it's still the same story and it could have been anyone in there, but you always imagine people that are like you when someone tells you it. But then seeing a story like that with different kinds of people kind of opens their eyes a little more without them even really realize that, that's someone who's not like me. Then if that's the first version of the story they saw, they probably just think it's like that. But
yeah, exactly. And there are so many great stories out there you can do that with. There's different perspectives. I think, I don't know if this is one of the videos we talked about, but one of the presenters was saying something it'd be such a different story if we told the story of founding the United States from the Native American perspective versus the colonial perspective. So it's just even giving them those other glimpses at things to try and think about things a little more globally is good. Another thing I really picked up on for you guys was communicating with ethnically diverse students. I liked, Lauren, what you said about home visits. It's one of the things you said you're going to try and do, is that way you can kind of see kids in their natural element, place they feel most comfortable. And I also I think it was Alex maybe who made the connection about, it kind of goes with what you guys are talking about in classroom assessment, making that bridge from the known to the unknown by getting to know your kids and really learning about them from their perspective. So can anyone elaborate on that? Lauren, you said you might do home visits. How might you do that, or have you seen them done in the past?
I haven't really seen them done in the past, but one thing, this summer, I worked at it was an after school care, but all day in the summer, and one of the girls, we'd had her for 2 years, and her last name was Daheim, but no one really thought much about it. But this year, she'd gone and visited her family in Lebanon, and we found that like she goes to an Arabic school actually, and she had never said anything about it, and no one had ever really asked her. And then we figured it out, and we started like making these connections and figuring out like more about who she really was. And it's kind of like sad that she had never mentioned it before, because when she was there, she was just like being with everyone else, and it wasn't really a part of who she was because we never took the time to get to know that part of her. So I think that like obviously with like an after school kid, you're not going to be doing home visits as much or at all, if anything, but just like she had hid that part of her identity for an entire year. So you don't, I think going and seeing kids in their natural element at their home can really show like who they actually are and what they do and that type of thing.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you can get so much insight. Like, did they live, with multiple family members? Do they have resources like books in the home? Do they have a place to do homework? Like just little things like that we kind of take for granted. Even having a computer around, like it gives you great insights if you can go in and kind of learn some of that stuff. But going in from the perspective of, I want to learn more to be able to help your child more. I think parents are very receptive to that. And just making them aware that that's why you're there. Sometimes home visits take a little while to catch on, but if you're committed to them and you get other teachers committed to them, I think it's something that can be really powerful in schools. Have any of you ever had a teacher come to your home to visit? No?
I haven't. I've had teachers send messages home where they wanted my parent or myself to kind of give backstory, but I don't think I've ever had a home visit.
Okay, yeah, something to think about.
I think that would give a whole deeper connection, though.
Yeah, definitely. And like one school I know in Great Bend wanted to kind of build on that idea, but they didn't know how to like make students feel comfortable with that and families feel comfortable because it was a dominantly Hispanic population. So they started out the first year going to homes, and they just went like the week before school started, and they just had like kind of little welcome baggies for the kids with pencils and erasers and like little stuff for them for class. And they just had a little note that was translated inside the baggie for the parents in case they didn't speak English. And just they knocked on the door and said, "Hi, I'm your teacher for next year. I'm so excited to have you in the class. I'm looking forward to seeing you." Something really simple. It took like 2 minutes per house. When the first year they did it, they really just wanted to try and make that connection with families. And no one really kind of knew why they were there. They were kind of really hesitant to welcome them into their homes. But then, so they got maybe, 20% of the parents actually, either they caught them at home and then they answered the door kind of thing. And then the next year, the word kind of spread among the parents. It's like, wow, it's really cool. They brought this stuff to us and they said hello. So then the next year they had like a 50% turnout. And then like the third year, they had like 75% turnout. So like every year it got more and more. And like by the fourth year they'd done this, like kids were out on their porches waiting for them. The parents took the day off because they knew at some point during the day that the teachers would come. So it's kind of a neat kind of see how that trickled down. But it's something that, doesn't take automatically the first time everyone's going to do it. But even something as simple, if you can't do home visits, just making phone calls home or sending emails or texts to parents that says, "Hey, Megan did a great job today. I loved how she did this." Or, "Hey, let's see, Jordan did an excellent job in class and was a great helper." Just something like that, simple to let parents know positive messages about their kids too, I think is really something that can go a long ways in classrooms. So not always just calling a parent when a kid's in trouble, which is still kind of what happens a lot. And then the last thing I kind of want to highlight Samuel here, because I really liked what he said about responding to ethnic diversity in the delivery of instruction. Samuel, I kind of pulled out your quote here where you talked about your experience in elementary school and the pie graph chart. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Oh yeah, so that was a funny experience. Like, I think ever since kindergarten actually is when it started. They introduced pie graph charts, and up until like I forgot what grade it was, but maybe even till like 6th grade, like they kept saying pie chart. And my family never ate pie, so I never had that imagery in my head of what the heck is a pie chart. And then I think at middle school, like they showed me for the first time, they relate an actual pie chart to actual pie. And that's when I was like, oh, I had a big oh moment. Like, and then I think if I had seen that a little bit earlier, it might have clicked, but I just, for some reason, never got that example explicitly shown to me.
Yeah, I mean, and it seems so like common sense. We do this all the time as teachers, right? We'll give examples out that we're assuming everyone's going to know, but if you don't have that experience in your background, it's not going to make sense. So some of things like the pie chart, it's a really powerful example. You know, everyone makes this automatic assumption, okay, kids know what this is, they've experienced it, and they're going to be able to connect to it. But if you haven't experienced it, it's not going to be meaningful to you. So really thinking about that in your future classrooms and what you're doing, examples you're giving, and how you can try and bring in other examples that go outside of the traditional to make sure we're incorporating all of our students. So like for us, like in my family, it's kind of a funny example. I would say like, you know, if you take a tortilla and we're going to cut it in half and then we'll cut it in fours, you know, that would be something I could relate to because we had tortillas every weekend. But, you know, it's something, finding just those little clicks for students, I think is really important, things that would be meaningful to them. So thanks for that example, Simon. That was really good. Any other thoughts on that and how we can make sure we're delivering instruction in ways that's meaningful for our students? Any final thoughts on like culture responsive teaching as a whole? Are you guys liking that concept and coming from that perspective? Okay, well, I'm really excited because the upcoming articles we'll look at, you'll see even more linkages in your discussion boards to this idea of culture responsive teaching and really being inclusive in our instructional approach. So what we'll do with Samuel and Samuel's group, I will make sure to show their video in the next set of instructional videos for you. So you'll have theirs, and I'm probably going to try and wait and get the CLD ELL groups in there as well. So the next video for next week won't be posted probably till late Monday night. And then from there, we'll schedule another Zoom session in 2 weeks to kind of follow up and see how people are doing. I think once we get through the first few cultural strategies presentations, it'll make a lot more sense to everyone. And people will kind of have the flow. You've gotten really good at the discussion boards now. So it's really just about when your group gets to that cultural strategies presentation, making sure you feel comfortable with the parts of it. But I'm sure Samuel's group is going to be a great role model for us, what to do. So I'm excited about that. I can't really think of anything else at this point. Any questions you guys have about upcoming assignments or anything we need to do?
So just this week, it's just the discussion board, which will probably come out sometime tomorrow,
Yes.
right? And
Yeah.
then there's a video and stuff next week, but just this week is the one discussion board.
Yep, that's it. Yeah. Unless you're the group doing the cultural strategies and you guys aren't. So yeah, it's just a discussion board. And then we'll go from there. Yeah, I'm excited. And then who is anyone doing our next one, which is, what is our next topic? I have to think for a second. Does anyone remember the topic off the top of their head for our next? It is SES. Anyone doing SES? Not from this group? Okay. Yeah, what I'm going to try and do, I did, like I said, went in and I tried to find more current articles as references for you guys. So I'll go and make sure I try and update those so that I have the resources published just a week to two in advance for the groups who want to start looking at articles for their discussion boards. Remember too, you're always able to pick your own article. Like say you found something you really like and want to share, just shoot it to me, I'll approve it. Someone did that already for, I think, the bullying one. So if you feel like you have an article that is a good resource for us, we can definitely use yours. But if not, in the modules, you'll find all the article resources for the topics as they come open. Okay, and if you want me to get to your topic sooner so you can start looking at it, just shoot me an email and I can always put your topic sooner if you need it. Okay. All righty, well, I can't think of anything else unless anyone else has any questions or wants to share anything. Nope. All right. Well, look at you guys getting, several of you now have 2 of your Zoom sessions done, which is great. I'm so happy that, are these helpful to you guys? Are you finding them helpful, the Zoom sessions?
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right. Well, I will send out an email next week for our Zoom session in week 5. But yeah, I think we're doing good. I'm excited you guys are sticking with it and doing such great work. So just keep it up. If you have any questions, just let me know. Okay.
All
Sounds
right.
good.
All right. Well, if that's it, I think we'll sign off for tonight. I got to go eat my dinner. All right, guys. We'll see you later.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.